So, hello everyone, I am Dhruv Saraswat, and today we are going to discuss a very interesting problem named wet scroll. And as you can see, I have already created a presentation on this problem, and I am going to explain this presentation to all of you today. So, let's start without any delay. So this will be our approach going forward in the experiment. First of all, we will understand the problem statement, then we will observe and investigate the phenomena, and I will try to explain it also. And then we will design and conduct relevant experiments, formulate a theoretical model, and then we'll compare this theoretical prediction with experimental results. And then only we will form some conclusions. So first of all, here is the problem statement. So gently place a piece of tracing paper on the surface of water. It rapidly curls into a scroll and then slowly uncurls. Explain and investigate this phenomenon. And as you can see, I have highlighted some keywords here which I will explain. So let us move to the first keyword, which is tracing paper. The paper which we are going to use in this experiment, its thickness is approximately 50 to 80 GSM, and it's a very light type of paper, and that's why we are using it in the experiment, because it contains very fine layers of fibers, and it can scroll very quickly when put on water surface, and that will be ideal for our experiment. So the second keyword is surface of water. We are going to use a water bath consisting of clean water without any impurities, and we will also ensure that it has a still water surface so that our experiment can be conducted properly. So the third thing is the rapid curling into a scroll. When we will gently put the tracing paper on the water surface, then it will show rapid curling and the formation of scroll will occur. And we will investigate this in detail going forward, as our experiment is mainly based on this only. So now we will try to put the experiment in a nutshell, and you can see that first of all we will investigate the phenomenon, that how it takes place and what is the reason behind it. So also we will try to vary some different parameters and try to interpret that what is their effect on the experiment. And then mainly the experiment will revolve around the property of paper by which it curls by putting it on water, and what more we can know about this property of the paper. So first of all, here is the methodology by which we will conduct the experiment. So first of all, we will set up the water bath. Then we will get the pieces of tracing paper ready, and then we will conduct the experiment, and then we will try to vary the parameters which are possible, and then we'll take the reading that how these parameters affect the experiment. So here is the first step. First of all, we will prepare the water bath, and we will carry out the following steps. We will take a petri dish. I have attached the image of petri dish here also. I think most of you have seen it also in a lab. So first we will pour clean water in it, and we will ensure that surface is smooth and undisturbed, as this will help in conducting the experiment properly. So the next thing is getting the pieces of tracing paper ready. So we will take 50 to 80 GSM thick tracing paper, which I have mentioned earlier. So then we will cut it in small square pieces, gradually increasing in size, as that we will use them later to take different types of readings. So let's now describe the experiment. So after setting up all the things, we will carry out the following steps: gently placing the tracing paper on the surface of water, and then we will let the paper curl into a scroll, and then slowly unscroll, and we will investigate this, and then we will try to vary some different parameters. Here I have mentioned the parameters which we are going to vary. So first parameter is the size of the paper, so we will do the same with the different sizes of paper, and then we will keep the size of paper same and change the temperature of water, and then we will take paper of different thicknesses and do the same. So we will note the time taken by the paper to curl and uncurl in each case. So here is the theory of the experiment. As we know, the paper is made of different layers. So as it is made of cellulose, so it forms in different layers. So when the paper is gently placed on the surface of water, the water penetrates the paper from one side, which induces differential swelling and hence causes the paper to curl. And when the water gets accumulated in all layers of paper, adds slowly, so it eventually unscrolls. So slowly over time, it will start to uncurl as the paper get fully wet fully and evenly. And if it has a fully closed cylinder, the surface tension may hold it in that position, uh, as it will not sink and get wet fully. So if it happens to drown, then only it unfold. In the case it has formed a full cylinder, as then only it will get fully wet. So Here I have made some diagrammatic representation of the experiment. So here is a paper and we will magnify it so we can see that it has a layered structure made of cellulosic fibers. So here when we put the paper actually that on the surface of water, then the lower layer only gets wet, and this causes differential swelling as the lower layer expands and the upper layers not. So here I have demonstrated that also, that how the lower layer uh, expands and the upper layer is not, the paper scrolls like that. uh, Here I have attached a video also for reference that how this happens. So we can see that how the paper scrolls when put on the surface of water. And it has formed a full cylinder almost, so the surface tension is holding it. So let's now move forward. So let's now vary the parameters and see that how that affects the experiment. So the first parameter which we are going to vary is size of the paper we are using in the experiment. uh, so we will cut the tracing paper into different sizes and then carry the experiment with each. First we will use a bigger size of paper. uh, I have also attached some videos for reference, which by analyzing the video you can see. Okay, so here is the video. So we can see that it folded a little faster than the normal paper. So let's see that what is the reason behind this. So this is due to the following reasons. First of all, the largest piece of paper has a greater surface area contact with water, and this leads to faster rate of absorption, means the lower layers gets wet earlier, so it expands quicker, and that's the reason only why it folds quickly also. Second thing is the weight distribution of the bigger paper, that the weight of the paper increases that is absorbs water. The distribution of weight across a larger piece of paper tends to be more uniform, and that's why it contributes to a smoother, more consistent cutting motion. So now we will use a smaller piece of paper and see what is the effect. And as we have already discussed, that the bigger piece of paper results in a faster speed, so the smaller piece results in a slower speed. So, and the reasons are the same, that the small surface area is contact with water, and the weight distribution also plays a role here. So here is the video of the smaller paper. So as you can see, it has taken some time to scroll as compared to the bigger paper. So the second parameter is the temperature of the water used. So we are only increasing the temperature of the water, as decreasing the temperature will have the opposite effect. So you can see in the video that how this will affect.
I will put it in the water now. So it's
So as we can see that how quickly it just scrolls, and this happens due to the following obvious reason, that when the temperature of the water is higher, then its molecules have higher energy, so the rate of absorption increases and the paper scrolls very quickly. So the third parameter we are going to vary is the thickness of the paper we are using for the experiment. So this time we are increasing thickness of the paper. So we have already used this paper of standard thickness, and we will keep the other two parameters same in this case. So whose thickness is, first of all we will use a paper whose thickness is slightly greater than the standard paper, and then we will see that it will slow scroll slightly, and I can show you the video also. Here is the paper which is of slightly greater thickness than the earlier paper. So you may not clearly see in the video that, but I have observed this. It try to scrolls, the edges rise somewhat, but it does not scroll fully, and Next, we will use the paper which is even more thicker, and it's the paper which we use for writing. It is very thick, that's why we can write on it. So here is the picture. So this time we can see that it even does not scroll a little. And what's the reason behind it? Let's see. That this happens because thickness of the paper is mass and structural integrity also increases, so it does not easily scrolls because it has a tends to have a high structural integrity, so it does not fold it so easily. So it resists scrolling, and the even thicker paper resists scrolling at all, so it does not scroll at all. So now we have discussed enough about the scrolling of the paper. So now let us move towards the unscrolling that happens after this. So as I discuss that when this unscrolling happens and when not, like when only when the cylinder does not form, and if the cylinder forms, the surface tension holds it, and if it happens to sink, then it unfolds. So we have very different parameters, but that doesn't much affect the unscrolling, and the basic principle uh, which holds true for the unscrolling about the formation of the cylinder and all that, that remains true at all time. So we need to note down that surface tension plays a major role in the unscrolling part, as it holds the paper in that position, so unscrolling doesn't happen. So let's move towards to the conclusion of the experiment. So by this experiment we can conclude that how tracing paper we have seen that how tracing paper scrolls, and conclude that how different parameters affect it, and it is all based on the property of the paper, that how it is made from layers. And in real life we can apply this experiment in that the phenomena when we left a paper like a sticky note left, when we stick a sticky note on something, that it scrolls from its edges like that. So that also happens because of the moisture of present in the air. It enters the layers of the paper and cause it to curl. So that is the reason behind it. So thank you for listening to the presentation, and bye.